lads, welcome back. This is episode 50 of Who's Got the Ball. So we've hit a nice landmark. It was a nice week in general to come on because we got obviously some stats from Spotify Wrapped. So we do mention a little bit at the end of the show, but it's great to see us being so high in a lot of people's charts. I think there's maybe 60 or so people who are in their top 10, and a good few were in top 5, and some people number 1. We had a good few people number 1 as well. I think it was I can't remember, maybe 6 people had us as their number 1 show. I wouldn't have even expected it to be 1.
Yeah, I
So
think there was
that's
that.
pretty
Yeah,
mad. And
no, me either.
we're ahead of 87% of all other shows in people listening to our episodes all the way through. So that is really good as well. We're just delighted to hear all that stuff. But another huge positive too was also Charlie Smyth last weekend, Irishman in the NFL. So two things for Shane I'm going to throw at him right now. One is the stats of our podcast. How do you feel about all that? And second, what did you make of Charlie Smyth?
Yeah, so the stats I do mention at the end there as well, but I think it's unbelievable. Like, and when you sent them over to me, I was like, okay, is he sure this is our podcast and not someone else's? Because I was just like, it's like, how on earth are we this high in so many people shows? And it's so like, I know 50 is a lot of episodes, but it's also only 50 in comparison to like the TIFO podcast must have
Yeah,
thousands on at this stage and other kind of shows that we're in. We're not in their league, but we're in their
yeah,
genre. And the fact that people are listening to us as well, and we're so highly ranked, and a lot of people when they put us on, they don't turn us off. So clearly we're doing something that's engaging people as well. So it was really, really good to see. In terms of Charlie Smith, that kick was good from 70
yeah.
yards. Like that hit the net so high up, and it was so accurate. That kick was good from 65 or 70 yards. It was outrageous. And then when he got the onside kick as well, I was like, ah, Jesus, this is the stuff of
Yeah.
dreams for him. The way he kicked it, the helicopter
Yeah.
kick on the ball, even when he put it down in front of the tee, I was like, is that how they all do it? Like I literally couldn't
Yeah.
remember ever seeing an onside kick in my life. All of a sudden, it's like, did they all put it down like that? And I still don't know, but I just think I got so annoyed when they scored the touchdown and went for two. Instead of giving him his first kick, and then they
Yeah.
got to two, I was like, oh, and Conan was delighted, and the two of us were like, no, you can shut up now, you. But I was brilliant. The kick he got to get it from there. I know they lost anyway, but it was just such a positive
Yeah,
for
it's
him.
great to see an Irish kicker doing well because he kind of had it unfortunate with Jude McAtamney earlier in the season. He couldn't make his extra points, and
Mm,
yeah, it didn't really end great for him as he got released from the Giants practice squad. And this situation now for Charlie, like you said, he piped that 57 yarder. It would have been good from 65 if not 70. And I did see someone on the Saints beat like putting out before the game that one thing people will notice is how high he kicks the ball, which is great because you're not under
yeah,
any risk of those getting blocked, which has been a theme this season. And then that onside kick, the technique was impeccable. Like he's obviously been practicing it so much, and to convert it, I think there was only maybe one converted all season before that. So he's like just on another level. It seems for what we could have expected, and he's going to start again for the Saints this weekend. So amazing, great to see it, and so happy for him, and good for Irish
yeah.
involvement in the NFL too with himself and Dan Wheeler.
The only issue, yeah, the only issue. Well, Dan Whelan's another superstar. I actually think we should talk about him next week. Actually, now that you've
Mm,
mentioned him, but the issue with his kicks going so high could be that when he's playing in an outdoor stadium with a bit of
true.
wind, could that be an issue with how high the kicks are going? We'll have to wait and see. Like with the Saints, he's in the dome, so there's no
Mm,
wind at all. So he can kick it as high as he wants, and it's going to go straight. So we'll see what he's like outdoors. Maybe he has the technique for indoors and outdoors. I presume he practices outdoors
yeah,
as well. So I'm sure he knows what he's doing because he's clearly an excellent kicker. And it just makes you feel so patriotic that we have two lads who are doing unbelievable. Dan Whelan has been unbelievable all year as a punter as well. He's been absolutely
yeah,
class. So hopefully Charlie Smith can stick with it and maybe be kicking for a Super Bowl team next
yeah.
year instead of this crap.
It looks like he might be stuck with the Saints now. So yeah, sorry, Colin. But sorry, Charlie too. But like, look, any opportunity is a good one for an Irish player in the NFL, and we might
100%.
see Dan Whelan even make a Pro Bowl in the next year or two. But we touched on a lot this week. Clutch player of the week in the NFL led us off another defensive player. Back to back defensive players. We then went on to the fact of the Jets having more wins than the Colts, Chiefs, and Bucks. since November 1st is a bit mad. And what that means for all those teams and their playoff hopes. Specifically, we looked at the Chiefs and Colts and what's really going on in the AFC. Moved on to football. Then we chatted the games on Tuesday and Wednesday for a kind of a midweek roundup. And some of the talking points from there before we previewed Aston Villa versus Arsenal, which is happening Saturday morning. Gave you our prediction for that one. Giannis is back. Our underdog picks. We've got the NBA teams back in it for the first time this season too. So 3 picks each there. On to the NBA then itself, and we chatted about the Magic. Are they better without Paolo Banchero, or will he just add to their run that they're on when he comes back? And then we finished up talking on the NBA side of things about Giannis and Chris Paul, kind of the situations with them off the court. Giannis looking to move away, and Chris Paul kind of being forced out the door. And then lastly, we gave our power rankings. So a stacked episode. Hope you enjoy it. Episode 50, a big landmark. Let's get right into it. So NFL Clutch Player of the Week is back again. We're gone back to back defensive players. We didn't have any at all, and now we've done it in back to back weeks. Feels like we're compensating, but to be fair, this was
Yeah.
maybe a game, definitely a game changer, maybe a season changer. Christian Benford for the Bills. He, in the very first play of the second half, the Bills were losing 7-3 to the Steelers, looking like they weren't going to get anything going. First play of the second half, Joey Bosa absolutely lights Aaron Rodgers up, leaves him with a bloody nose. Ball comes out. Christian Benford scoops it up and
Yeah.
scores to get the first touchdown of the Bills' day. Also, his first ever touchdown of his career. 5 plays later, then he picks off Mason Rudolph for an interception, his first interception of the season, and that leads to a touchdown for the Bills, which swung the game from 7-3 to down to 16-7 up. They didn't look back after that, and that was a win they needed to continue to kind of keep themselves in touch and distance with the Patriots.
Yeah, that was kind of the way the Bills started that game. It looked like they were going to go back to back in losses because they really weren't. They couldn't get anything going on offense at all, and it was kind of just it really felt like a runoff from the Texans game where they were really poor as well. They come into this and there was nothing going, and Christian Benford said, "I'm going to put this on my back now and just." Like if he was like if basically if I can get something going, then the offense can get something going. And as you said, his touchdown was just it was so quick on his feet to get it, and then the interception just changed the swing of the game. And as you said, they never looked back. Then went on. Steelers didn't score again. Rogers didn't play again for the rest of the game. It just made such a difference to him. I was reading up about him after, and he's just really well liked around the facility as well. The younger players look up to him as kind of this kind of the level we want to be at. So the fact that he was able to come out then and make this massive difference for him is only going to help as well. And I know you were saying about us kind of going back to back on defensive players now as a overcompensation, but it's just been back to back weeks where the defense have stood up because offense have just not been doing it really for the big teams over the last couple of weeks. So someone needed to, well, obviously the Browns aren't a big team, but the offenses for the teams that we thought were going to be pushing for Super Bowl just haven't really been at
Yeah,
it. So for him to step up now after what Miles Garrett did last week just goes to show that there's a reason these defensive players get paid the big
yeah,
bucks.
yeah.
And it's kind of they're showing it now really.
Yeah, I think coming into his fourth season, it's kind of like a for him, like to wait this long to get an interception on the season, it might be a massive turning point because, like, that's always been a weakness for the Bills. Like the secondary has never been that strong. They've had a good pass rush over the last couple of years, but there's times where teams have just torched them. Especially in the playoffs. I know they do get a lot of takeaways, but that slowed down this year. So maybe that's kind of the fire to start the defense on the secondary side of things to kick off. Looking at their last 5 games on the season, then we've got they're playing the Bengals in Buffalo this weekend, and then after that is the big one
Mm.
against the Patriots on the road. Cleveland on the road, very winnable. Philly at home. I don't know, like Philadelphia looked very shaky recently, and then the Jets at home, which they'll be expecting to win. In their minds, they'll want to go 4-1 here. Um, but really, the main one is the win against the Patriots because they're currently 2 games behind them, and the Patriots have beaten them. So they'll need to win, and they'll need the Patriots to slip up. once, if not more than once, if the Bills do lose another game. So, do you think they still have a chance, like, to win the division, or do you think the Patriots are kind of too far ahead at the moment and they're just going to keep chugging?
I think they have got to beat the Patriots. Obviously, I know that's like saying the sky is blue, but if they can go and beat the Patriots, it will make such a difference. It will it could end this Patriots run. I think they're on a 10 game
Yeah,
winning run now. The Patriots are, and they're doing that without looking special.
yeah,
Which I know that sounds absolutely mental, but like they don't look like they're a team that should be going for a Super Bowl, really. So if the Bills can go there and beat them, like the Patriots could easily then drop another one in a row, and all of a sudden the Bills are right back in it. But they obviously they had to get over Cincy this weekend, and then they had to beat the Patriots, and then work it out from there with the last 3 games. If they can get to, as you said, 4-1 or 5-0, I think that will be enough for them to win the division. But they can't go any lower than that, and they have got to beat the Patriots as well.
yeah. Like, I still think the Bills are a way better team than the Patriots. And I know, like, the Patriots on a 10-game winning streak, and currently they are the best team in that division, or in that conference and in that division, by
Mm.
record. But if you look at that 10-game streak, like, the teams they played, they beat Carolina, who were incredibly up and down to start. The next win was against the Bills. That was huge. That was the first one where people are like, "Oh, this Patriots
Yeah,
team might be real." But then after that, they played the Saints, Titans, Browns, and Falcons, who were all abysmal teams. Then they played the Bucs, who were completely destroyed by injuries, and they nearly threw that away. Then they played the Jets, and then they played the Bengals without Joe Burrow, and then they played the Giants. Like, there's not really even, in my opinion, more than one actual football team in there. The rest are like children in a play on the
yeah.
field. Like, they played the easiest schedule I think I've ever seen. So that game for me is massive because I want to see them do really come up against a test, especially coming out with the bye week. Like, they are on a bye week now this week, the Patriots. So if they come out with a bye week and they beat the Bills, then yeah, I'll take them even more seriously. But for now, I'm still thinking even if the Bills don't win the division, I still think they're a stronger team. And when it gets to the playoffs, yeah, especially if you're not going to have Mahomes, I'm still going to be putting my money on the Bills in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm the same as you, 100%. I think if it comes down to the Bills versus the Patriots in the playoffs, then the Bills will they'll just turn it on. Josh Allen will just come out and turn it on. So yeah, I don't think it matters if they do win the division as long as they just get into the playoffs. Then I think they'll be absolutely
Yeah.
fine. And as you said, if Mahomes and the Chiefs aren't there, then they will get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that moves us on nicely to the next point we're going to talk about is kind of an incredible stat, but since November 1st, the New York Jets have more wins than the Chiefs, Colts, and Bucks. This is something you sent me after last Sunday. Um, in my opinion, it's not a sign that like the Jets are world beaters. The Jets have just turned things around a little bit.
No,
It's more so
yeah,
that the other teams have
everything I have
been
in my notes is
yeah,
that
the other teams have just been considering what they hope. They've just been
horrific.
so bad. And over that
Mm,
period, for each team, you've got the Colts losing to the Patriots. They beat the Falcons, lost to the Chiefs, and lost to the Texans. The Chiefs then they lost to the Bills, Broncos. They won that game over the Colts, and then they lost to the Cowboys. And then you've got the Bucks who lost to New England, lost to Buffalo, lost to the Rams, and lost to Arizona. Now, Buffalo, they were badly injured and they seem like they're not at that elite level where they can beat like the best teams. So I don't know if there's much more to it. It's more about the Colts and Chiefs for me because they're in the same division. And yeah, it looks like the Texans. Well, definitely the Jags are already ahead of them, but it looks like the Texans are catching up with those Colts as well. And the Chiefs look like it's could be on borderline of highly unlikely now that they get into the playoffs.
yeah, I think the Colts in particular have just come back down to earth after the run they're on, when Daniel Jones looked like, as I think I said at one point, he was the second coming of Tom Brady at one point, the way he was playing this season, but he's just back to who he was. Um, I just can't believe the Jaguars are getting away with what they're getting away with, to be perfectly honest, with that fellow under centre there from Bus. Do you know what? They're going out and they're winning games somehow. I saw a stat as well about like the Bears are top of their division, and Caleb Williams' passing has been absolutely chronic. It's like the good passers aren't getting rewarded and the bad passers aren't getting rewarded. And that's like Trevor Lawrence,
Yeah.
absolutely awful, but his team are winning every single week. You have obviously Caleb Williams, awful, winning every week. Then you have Mahomes throwing some really, really good, playing some really, really good football and just not getting anything out of
Yeah.
it. I just think like the Jets, it's great that they've finally realised how to win a couple of games. They're 3-2 in their last five, but over their last four games, it's only 942 yards,
Mm.
462 passing yards a game. So it's just over 100 yards a game. They're just somehow outscoring teams. It's like they're bringing teams down to their levels, and then the Jets are going like half a rung up the ladder to just about get over the line by 2 or 3 points or a last minute field goal. The Jets are still horrific.
Mm.
Um, Tyler Taylor is like he's been more solid than Fields, but like how could he not be? He's not really doing anything
He
amazing.
doesn't
Brees Hall
take
has just
much
remembered that
risks,
he is
like, at
able to
all.
run a bit. No, absolutely not. No, which is a bit annoying as well. Like especially when obviously like I started the season with so much hope, and that was all diminished
Mm.
in 2 or 3 weeks. Like, but they're just they're still a bit crap, is what I've written here. Despite the fact they're on this mini run, they'll probably still end up losing their way to the end of the season, and everything will just be back to where it was, and be like, oh, now who do we put on the center, and now who do we put here? It's like the Jets are just a broken organization.
Yeah.
That they just I don't know where the fix is, and we'll just have to wait and see what they can do. They have gotten a couple of good players now. The two wide receivers they picked up in those trades have been
Yeah.
really really good since they came in, and the safety that came in for Sauce has been excellent as well. 8K or oh no, 8 AZ, I can't remember his surname now, but he's been really, really good since he came in as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. There's a couple of things there, but yet again, we're going into another massive off season for the Jets that they need to get absolutely everything right. And they've like there's just no sign
Mm.
that they can do that. They've never shown they can go out and get everything right. So we'll just have to wait and
Especially when
see.
they have so many extra picks, like the pressure is going to be on to
Yeah.
get everything right there, as you said. But the interesting thing is the defense has probably been better since Quinnan Williams and Sauce left, which is mad. And yeah, Eddie Mitchell
Yeah.
was a good pickup. Like I said to you, like that he does have the potential, but it's just whether he uses it. So I liked him getting in the end zone. That was his first career touchdown in the NFL in his second year. After
Yeah.
he dropped one going over the line for the Colts earlier in the season, which is probably what led to him being included in the trade. But
Traded.
all good for the
Yeah.
Jets. I think it's a positive. But if you look back then at those three teams, the Bucs, Chiefs, and um, the Colts, we've
Colts.
got the Jags currently leading the Colts division, but they're on the same record. And then we've got the Chiefs in third in their division, and the Bucs are top of their division, but the Panthers have to play them twice, and the Panthers look like if they play well, they could beat anybody. So, how many of the three do you think is actually going to make the playoffs? Now, two of them are already sitting in the playoff spots, but once it shakes out,
I think two of them will get there. I don't think the Chiefs are going to get there at this stage now. I think it's too they've left themselves too much to do.
mm,
I think the Colts will probably just about win enough games because of the quality they have with Jonathan Taylor, and their wide receivers are quite good as well. Josh Downs and Michael Pittman can both make plays as
yeah.
well. So I think they will sneak in there as well. I just think the Chiefs have left themselves far too much to do to try and they need to win out and hope for results to go firm as well. I just don't see it happening this year. So I think two of the three.
Yeah, I would agree that it's probably going to be two, and I think that the Colts are in the lucky situation that they play the Jags twice in their last five games. Their
Mm,
other games are against the Seahawks, Niners, and Texans. I don't think they win any of those three, but I do think they beat the Jags both times, to be honest, and that's going to push them in. I think the Texans are going to give them a close run. I think the Texans may sneak in then as a wild card, probably over the Chiefs.
yeah,
That's a massive game this weekend, the Texans and Chiefs, because that the Chiefs, if they have any chance, they need to win that, have that tiebreaker, and then get the ball rolling. But if the Texans win it, then it's done completely, and then they're in a great spot. And yeah, the Bucks. I just think the Panthers probably don't have enough to beat them twice, so I'm gonna still take them to win that division. So I'm gonna say two, the same two as you. But it is interesting that we have so many things up in the air right now. I don't remember a season like this where it's been like so many new teams that we didn't expect to be in playoff spots and leading the divisions,
mm,
leading the conference. and then so many big names really kind of stumbling. And there seems to be a massive gulf, even though the best quarterbacks are in the AFC. It seems to be such a gulf between the NFC and the AFC. The NFC just looks so much better, probably all around for teams. The quarterbacks aren't as good, maybe outside of Stafford, but the rest is kind of a good team building and good defensive schemes. So it's a really interesting season on that side.
Yeah, the one that keeps catching me off guard is the Lions. I can't believe the Lions have fallen to 7-5, and they look in real trouble with getting into playoffs now. With the players they have, I just don't understand how it's gone so wrong from. They've two brilliant running backs. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown as their main catcher. I just don't understand how it's gotten to the point where they're 7-5 behind the Bears and the Packers, who, like, okay, the Bears are 9-3, fair enough. They're on a 5-game winning run, but the Packers are awful. And well, no,
I
they're
don't
not.
think
That's
they're
a bit harsh.
awful,
But
but
like the Bears should be better than the Packers.
it's the
But the Bears
lines,
should be better than them, and they're just not.
the lines. You mean?
Sorry, the Lions. Yeah,
Mm.
apologies. Yeah, the Lions should be better than the Packers, and they're just not. And I don't understand what has happened to the Lions this year that they've fallen to 7-5, and they're in. Like I had them picked to be my Super Bowl winner, and they're not even going to get into the playoffs now.
Yeah, I think the Packers have not convinced me at all this season still, and they did get a couple of nice wins, but then at the same time, Jordan Love just randomly decides when he's going to have a horrendous game, so you don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah,
But he can be really good when he is on his game, but that's just the unconvincing part of it. And yeah, the Bears just came out of nowhere, and I still don't think that that's sustainable with Caleb Williams at all. But the Lions have surprised me.
no.
But I guess I've always said about Jared Goff, and I'm still gonna stick by it, that he'll never win you a Super Bowl. He's just not good enough. And he's not giving them the spark that they need, even though he had a great game. Um, Last week they still managed to lose, and that one wasn't on him. But there'll be a lot that are on
Yeah,
him really, and the fact that Ben Johnson isn't there either also is a big loss to them. So I think the Bears are laughing now that they've got him in their ranks. But let's move on then to football. So we had obviously a full weekend's round of games. Nothing too crazy on the weekend. I feel like there was not a whole lot to talk about. So we're gonna focus on the
mm.
midweek games. So we're recording this Thursday. The only one we don't know the result to right now as we're speaking is United and West Ham, which is due to start within the next hour. You guys will know that, but let's talk about the other nine games because there was a lot of mad ones. We'll start with Tuesday. City beat
Mm.
Fulham 5-4, Newcastle 2-2 with Spurs, and Everton 1-0 over Bournemouth. What were some things that stood out to you on Tuesday night?
I picked Everton by accident and got a chance to beat Bournemouth, but it didn't count because it was midweek and not the weekend.
Yeah,
So I'm
it's
a bit
under.
annoyed about that one. But that Fulham City game is one of the maddest games of football I've
Yeah.
ever seen. Um, City went from being so comfortable and just so in charge to looking so soft, so vulnerable. Anything can happen. Fulham had so many chances, half chances to get it back to 5-5 as well.
Mm,
Um, it kind of it made me realize that unfortunately, this Arsenal side are going to win the league because they're just so solid at the back and so good going forward. Whereas City, like they score all the goals you want, but if you're conceding four after being 5-1 up,
yeah.
sorry, if you're conceding three after being 5-1 up, then like you're not a serious football team that's going to go
No.
on and win a league title here unless Arsenal completely fall apart. So that's very unfortunate. Spurs are horrific. They just have nothing going for them. I don't understand it. The players are there.
Yeah.
Maybe he was the wrong choice as a manager. Is it's what it's
Big.
beginning to look like. It's kind of starting to look like he's good at being the big fish in the small pond, rather than the fish in the pond where all the fish are the same size and there's a couple bigger than you, and their fans expect so much and they're just not getting it.
Mm.
And then that Everton results. Bournemouth, everyone loves watching Bournemouth. Bournemouth seem to win every week, but they still manage to lose every week. I don't understand. I don't understand what the Bournemouth is at the moment. Like they play such nice football and then go and lose, or lose to Sunderland, draw with West Ham, lose to Everton. They're on a terrible run. But it's another massive 3 points for Everton after coming off the back of that hammering by Newcastle at the weekend as well.
Yeah, they needed that. And Jacob Bryan, man of the match, is a nice one to see
Yeah.
too. For on Spurs, yeah, I don't know. It's looking like Frank, as you said, the fans don't want a certain style of football played, but it seems like every manager that goes in there finds out what the fans are like. finds out what the players are like, finds out the whole situation, and it doesn't ever seem to want to change for them. And I was listening to the Tifo podcast, and they were saying about how Spurs didn't have like enough. They didn't get enough in the summer, and I was like thinking, have they forgotten like how many players they got in? Like they got Colo Muani,
Yeah,
Javi Simons, Kudus, Polinia. Like they got in very, very good, high quality European players who have played in Europe, not
level
European
players.
players. I mean like the guys who know how to play at the highest level, and they're just kind of falling by the wayside. Yeah, they've had injuries, but they have a deep squad. Like they made Tell a permanent signing as well. Um, it's just not been good enough, and Newcastle should have won that. I feel like the draw was basically like an evening of the playing field, considering that penalty was an absolute farce. Like Dan Burn was
Shocking. Yeah,
grabbing Bentancur's arm and then throws himself on the ground. For a man that size, come on, don't you can't
it's
be doing
mental.
that.
Yeah,
Like and Byrne was even laughing. He was shocked that he got it. So that one was a bit mad. And on City, I 100% agree with everything. For me, the main thing that stood out from that game was that something that has happened to them all season, but second balls like off crosses or corners, their whole team just freezes. They're all looking at each other to do something.
yeah.
And then that's how Fulham got back into it. Two of their goals is because of that. And I just think that the way that City defend suits the other teams who are pushing up. Like Villa will feast on them if they play like that against them. Arsenal as well. Chelsea would beat them playing like that. I know they lost to Leeds, but like in general, that's the type of style
Mm.
that these teams work well against, and it's the traits of like a poor team. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna get there this year. In terms of title challenging. Um, we'll move on.
There's no one outside of Arsenal, like, because
Yeah,
City got lucky there. Chelsea losing to Leeds, like Chelsea can throw one of those in like they did against Leeds at any time in the season. They're just so immature.
yeah,
Obviously Caicedo was a massive loss as well, but they're a really really immature football team. I only really saw 15 minutes highlights now after because I was watching Liverpool at the same time for my sins. But Liverpool are another team who everyone thought was going to be their nearest challenge, and they're I don't want to talk about them again. We'll kind of just skim over that one. Some of them were absolutely brilliant,
yeah.
deserve the win. But like, who is actually going to push Arsenal?
Mm,
Like, is it going to be Aston Villa, who have won? I think they've won 13 of their last 14 games now. Are they going to be Arsenal's nearest challenger with the way things are going?
they're flying it
Um,
like, but we'll
it's just mad. Like, yeah.
we'll look at the Wednesday fixtures then, because both of those sides were playing. Like we had Arsenal beating Brentford 2-0. Villa beat Brighton 4-3 in another high scoring game. There was a few
Mm,
others there, but Leeds and Chelsea 3-1 stands out as well. Those are three kind of as the standout games, I think, that went on yesterday. Like to see a team in Chelsea who kind of really seemed to boss Arsenal on the weekend and probably should have beaten them. Despite only having 10 men, they still looked the better team. They come out and they get spanked by Leeds, just purely complacent. Like I know Tanaka's goal is a screamer, but the amount of space he gets there, and then that third
yeah.
goal, when they're about to like kind of push back into it, almost they look like they're coming back in. It's just a joke from Shalba, like just purely complacent. I think Chelsea will have games like that. I don't think it's going to stop them finishing in the top three or four. I just think they will
No.
continue to randomly have games like that. And then, as you said, Arsenal just look a level above the rest. They rotated the squad and they won that game with ease. So they're
Mm.
laughing at this point.
Yeah, Arsenal are just they are really are head and shoulders above the rest of them. There's no one that's going to lay glove on them with the way everyone else is playing right now. We'll talk about the Villa game in a second. I think that would be their toughest game of their season so far, with the way Villa are playing in comparison to the way Arsenal or the way Villa and Arsenal are playing in comparison to everyone else they played. Like Arsenal, as you said, they rotated their squad. They're playing a defensive midfielder up front, and he just scores goals left, right, and
Yeah,
centre from when he's playing up there. He's like,
goal and an
it's
assist
really,
last night
really
again.
frustrating. Yeah, it's absolutely mad, and they could afford to leave Saka on the bench. He comes on and scores.
Yeah,
They brought in Ben White, so Timber was left on the bench.
yeah,
And again, another clean sheet. Raya only had one real save to make, and it was a good one.
yeah. It was good.
Um, Brentford dropping Thiago was a strange one.
Mm,
So, why would you drop him for your hardest game of the season? Like it is, it's everyone's hardest game of the season is going away to Arsenal.
yeah,
And you're dropping your best player, your most informed player. It was one of Keith Andrews's um probably his worst performance as a manager of the season. Really, they were just so passive the whole way through. I saw the whole first half of this,
Yeah.
and you just knew it was only going one way from minute five. But like, yeah, they're not going to lay a glove on him here. Can we talk about Burnley and Wolves being, well, especially Wolves being potentially the worst Premier League team of all
Oh
time?
my god, another one that lost to Forest. Like I think they had 5 shots, one on target. Like that is a joke. Like,
Yeah,
they're not
at
even
home.
putting in even close to 50% effort to try and stay up. They're just like they've accepted their fate already. Like at this point, and of course United are playing them on Monday. They haven't won a game all season, so there you go. That's their first win of the season
Yeah.
penciled in. But like, come on, they're just a joke.
And like it's that's one of the places. So they've gotten one of their 2 points at Spurs, which says more about Spurs now than it does about Wolves. And it kind of goes to show like Spurs are so badly coached, Liverpool are so badly coached, but Wolves are just it's actually like they're not doing any training. It's like they play their match, they go home and they sit on the couch for a week and then come back out. They're
Yeah.
so lethargic in everything they do. There's just no sign of any sort of life. And then I think Burnley are just they're just who they are. Like another one they lost for them as
Mhm.
well. A team who didn't conceded 13 goals all season last year looks so weak defensively.
Yeah.
It's like they've forgotten just everything they were doing. Um, Dubravka was everyone thought he was a good signing, but he's clearly not. He has no command over that back four or five whenever they're playing. Kyle Walker is doing nothing from either. He's literally just a placeholder there from as well. And they're just like it's like they've got like Walker is such a good attacking outlet,
Mhm.
and they're making him sit in. And Quenda, not Quenda, their left back, the fella they
Oh,
signed in from
Hartman.
Feyenoord as well, was so good at attacking
Hartman. Yeah.
Hartman. And they've made him sit in as well. It's a back five that don't cross the halfway line.
Yeah. And then
Like
every
you're one
time
nil
he
down, you
goes
need to go and
forward
make some sort of an
as
effort.
well, like Hartman, he's a few assists on the season, so when he goes forward, he's
Yeah.
able to do it. I just don't know. Like I'd say, I honestly they have a decent enough squad, like to get like 17th place, but like it's not going to be Scott Parker that does it with them.
No, and like I know Leeds won there last night, but I still think the right decision would have been sacking Farke in the summer and bringing someone in who knows the Premier League because he's never been able to keep a team up. It was a great result last night, fair
Yeah.
play, and it kind of drags him out of the bottom three. But they've an awful Christmas schedule coming up. They've Liverpool twice in the space of a month. Now,
Mm.
on paper that's tough. It doesn't look as tough as it is now, but when you were looking at that when the fixtures came out,
Yeah.
like they had City, then Chelsea, then Liverpool in the space of a week. If they can come out with that with 4 or 6 points, then fair enough. I'll put my hands up. But they're more than likely going to come out with 3 points, maybe four, because I just don't see Liverpool going there and winning. But outside of that, like they just really look so poor at times. I know they had the great comeback against City, so the players are obviously playing for him.
Yeah.
But
I mean
he signed a team of giants who can't.
every single
I know.
time they do that, like one win, it's just keeping him in his job. Like that's all that's doing. Like that,
Yeah.
it's not making. They're still not a better team. But sorry, go on and make your point. What you were gonna say there.
Like he signed a team of giants thinking it would help, and like I think he was trying to do what Sunderland have done.
Yeah.
He's just not the man to do it. Like if you put Libri into that team, I reckon that Leeds team could be where Sunderland are now if he got them all with like a solid plan of this what we're doing, this where we're going.
Mm.
Oh, Sunderland last night were just incredible.
Yeah, I think
They were deserving of the
that
points,
Shaka signing goes under the radar too because he's really
100%.
just like solidified that whole team. And he knows exactly what to do in elite European games, so he's going to know what to do in the Premier League with Sunderland. For me, the biggest
Yeah,
takeaway from that game is Van Dijk is just a joke. Like he gets way too much credit for his defensive ability, not in the way that he's never been a good player, but in the way that he's gets that as an excuse or like a bailout every time he makes a mistake. Oh, do you see what he did this time? Whatever. Like he turns his back on way too many shots. That first one that was tipped onto the bar by Allison, he ducks under that. Somehow he manages to avoid.
yeah,
And then for the goal, he gives it away and then just turns his arse to the ball. Couldn't be half bothered. And he'd be the first one then to go and throw someone else under the bus in the press conference after the
yeah.
game. So it's
I don't understand why he's always running backwards. Like why is he giving like I was literally sitting on the couch and I was shouting. I was like, do not let him shoot. And everyone they were all just running backwards, letting him just they were basically letting him walk into the box. He was like, I've so much space. Why would I not shoot? And obviously the deflection helps,
Yeah.
but the deflection is Van Dijk's fault
Yeah.
because if he's going to it instead of backing off, then he blocks it properly.
Or if he
But
stays
he's just
face
running
on.
backwards, and it makes absolutely no sense. He's there like running backwards, looking over his shoulder at it basically, and he's inviting him to shoot.
I don't know if this is
And
the
I
case,
don't
but
like, why are you inviting shots?
the point that people make about, that he has that record of people not dribbling past him, like, I don't know, does that play into his mind? Because he so many times he runs away from people when they're like looking to go past him. That's like, am I trying to preserve this thing I had when I was younger and I was faster? Like, I don't know if that actually plays into his mind
I
or
don't
if
think it's
it
that.
doesn't make sense to
The-
defend the way he does.
Yeah, the one thing that came to mind last night was after that Real Madrid game, he came out on Amazon and gave Rooney absolute pelters for talking about him. And Rooney has only been proven right every single week since. Every time Van Dijk plays, what Rooney was saying has just come out and made far more sense every single time. And it's very frustrating. They gave himself and Salah new contracts. Salah's not in the starting 11, and he's only getting away with what he's getting away with this year because of Kanate has been absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
Another howler last night he got away with. He was very lucky. The only reason Van Dijk isn't getting, like, if Kanate was playing at the level he is, the level we know he can get to, and Van Dijk was doing what he's doing now, everyone would be like, "Oh, Van Dijk's finished."
Yeah.
But he gets away with it because Kanate is so far below what he's meant to be doing
Yeah.
that Van Dijk looks like a hero beside him. The amount of goals we conceded 21 goals in 13 league games.
Mm,
Defended champions. That's absolutely horrific. 9 or 10 goals from set pieces. We'd none conceded this time last year. And Van Dijk is the one. He sets the line. He sets the tempo. He sets everything. He's the captain.
mm.
And he's clearly doing absolutely
But that
nothing.
was
But
that was Rooney's
let's get
whole
off him.
point. Like he said that he
Yeah.
needs to set the tempo, and like
And he's just
it's not
not.
like someone who's coming out of nowhere. This is a guy who's won multiple Premier League titles, one of England's best players in the last 20 or 30 years. Like he knows what is necessary, and then Van Dijk was kind of trying to throw a few digs in there, and Rooney just like stood there and took it and looked at him in his face and was like, "Look, this is what I was saying. This is what I meant."
This is my opinion.
And
Yeah.
then everything since then, as you said, has been proved right. But
And if everyone on Twitter like, oh, Van Dijk put him in his
he
place.
didn't.
Van Dijk did
So
this,
like,
and Rooney was there. Rooney was there, and at the time I was like, oh, I don't like that because it was one
yeah,
game. I think it was sorry, it was 2 wins in a row. We just beaten Villa.
yeah,
We were still playing crap. Like,
and
I came out after, and everyone was on Twitter was like, oh, Van Dijk did so well there. I was like, this is going to come back and
yeah.
bite us in the
And he
arse.
couldn't look him
I
in
knew it
the eye
was,
as well.
and
He was
it
trying to
has.
make the little comment and the thing memes on for clips online. He knew what he was doing, and Rooney was just like
Yeah,
looking him in the face, like, "Yeah, look, I gave him my opinion. That's it." And
yeah. This is my
here we
opinion.
go.
Deal with it.
This is what happens. But let's move on to preview the game for the weekend. Then it's the early game on Saturday, Villa versus Arsenal. We didn't say too much on Villa's win over Brighton, but I think Brighton are lethal going forward. They could put three past anybody, and the fact that Villa went from 2-0 down to be 4-2 up, um, they kind of showed that they have that resilience to continue this run even when they're put under pressure. So, like you said, they had 3 points in their first 5 games, and since then they've 24 from a possible 27. So they only lost one since
Mm,
then. They've only lost twice in all competitions since September began. So I think coming off that big away win, having rotated their forwards, Arsenal did a lot of rotations themselves, so they'll be fit. This is a very, very big game because if Villa somehow manage to get a win here, they're only 3 points behind Arsenal, and they're
yeah.
well within striking distance, and considering the run they're on, who would say that they're not going to catch them if they do beat them?
Yeah, so I mentioned it briefly when we were talking about the midweek games. So they've 13 wins in their last 14 games in all competitions. Um, like that's the kind of run that when Man City go on, everyone in the world is talking about how good Man City are, but it's Aston Villa, so everyone is just kind of just like it's almost like it just slips under the radar. No
Yeah.
one even thinks about it. What the football they're playing is unbelievable. Watkins got 2 goals last night and finally looked like the player he was last
Mm.
year. After he's had a really, really slow start to the season and they were still winning all these games. This is Arsenal's toughest game so far of this season. I know they lost to Liverpool away and they were really poor then, but this is the kind of game where the same way everyone is looking at Villa and not talking about their run, this is the kind of game where Arsenal go, oh, it's Aston Villa. We absolutely have to go there and win. I don't think they are going to go there and win. I think the early kickoff helps Villa. I think the fact it's in Villa's home helps Villa.
Hmm.
The fact that they came back from that massive, like from 2-0 down to beat Brighton away helps Villa as well. I think this has a Villa win written all over for me, and it's not just my Arsenal hatred coming out. I just think this Villa team are really, really serious.
Mm.
I know Arsenal is serious as well, but everything has been rosy and shiny for Arsenal. That's like they have to face adversity at some points. I think this might be the bit of adversity they've been kind of waiting for, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that Arsenal could play anybody else in the league this season, and I'm going to predict an Arsenal win. But in this one, I'm finding it hard to
Mm,
do that because looking at Rodgers as well recently, he's just really been amazing after a kind of a slow start. And a thing for me is that Arteta has been bringing Gyökeres off the bench, and I don't know is he going to start him in this game because he's increased his minutes. Like I don't think he should. I think Marino is a better option in this game, kind of with his
definitely.
physicality, and creating that extra space then for Saka or whoever else may be coming on. I really like Madueke recently, his performances. So I feel like those two on the wings with Marino up front would be really something to cause Villa problems. I think the defense for Arsenal changes a lot too. Like Gabriel and Saliba still going to be out, and Mosquera now is injured too. So you're looking at Timber coming into centre back like he did last night. And then, but the lucky thing for them is
Yeah.
Ben White is back, and he got an assist and was great last night. So that's the positive of all these defenders that they have. For me, two really good teams, probably the two best teams in the Premier League right now. But I don't know. I just think Arsenal are very, very, very good. And although Villa are great, I can't, even at home, I can't give them more than a draw. So I'm going 1-1 here because I think both defenses are solid and two teams would be looking to get out
Mm.
of there with something.
Yeah, I've gone 2-1 Villa. I'm expecting Villa to come out of the blocks really, really fast with the confidence they are. If they can get 1-0 up inside 20 or 25 minutes, I think it makes it really, really difficult for Arsenal. So we'll have to wait and see. I won't be watching this. I'll be over in Bath. So unless it's on in a pub that I land in at some point before the Munster match, I'll get to see it. Other than that, I'd probably miss it. But I think it's a really, really big game for Arsenal. If Arsenal win this, I know we've said it a million times already, but if Arsenal do come out of this with a 2 or 3-1 or 2 or 3-0 win, then they're going to waltz their way through the rest of the next 6 months and just pick up points left, right, and centre, and they'll just be unstoppable.
Yeah, I think it's really important for other teams too that Villa get the win because if Villa close a gap to three, that's when you start going like, oh, Arsenal.
Gives everyone else a bit of confidence.
Yeah, and are Arsenal going to go back to themselves or they start overthinking this whole thing? And they know a team is right over their shoulders. Whereas if Arsenal win this, then I don't think, yeah, it's really curtains for everybody else. But let's move into Gun Chance then. Last week we both had one right again. Um,
I'd really like to claim two.
yeah, that's not going to happen because Shane changes his pick like three times because obviously he picked that Everton over Bournemouth, and then I was like, "What the hell? Where is that coming from?" And then you were like, "Oh, I don't even know where I got that from." Then you gave me another one, and I was like, "That doesn't even qualify." And then you settled on, what was your point?
Villa to beat, or
Saints to beat the
Everton to beat
Dolphins.
Newcastle.
No, it was the Saints to beat the Dolphins. The Everton and Newcastle didn't fit in the
Oh,
odds.
yeah.
See, even
Yes,
that's
sorry,
why
yeah.
I'm here. I have to remember all this stuff. But I've got last week I had the Texans to beat the Colts, and then that came up. Cardinals and Bucks. Cardinals pushed, they couldn't get there. West Ham versus Liverpool, and Liverpool won. You also had West Ham to beat Liverpool, so that wasn't a winner. And obviously, we already mentioned Saints and Dolphins, that wasn't a winner. And you had Texans to beat Colts, the same as me. So we picked one up
Yeah.
each there. 12-11 to me is the current score. I'll go with mine first for this week. So we've got the NBA back. There's enough games now to start doing it. So we'll explain how we do that one in case you are a new listener or you don't remember from last year. But usually the odds for the NBA games won't be out for like the weekend or Friday night by the time we're recording this. So what we do is the team you're picking has to have 5 wins less than the team that they're playing against. So you have to pick an underdog that has 5 less wins than another team that they're up against. Everything else is the same for NFL and Premier League. It has to be a team that is an underdog, but they're an underdog to an odds-on team. So I've gone with the Pacers to beat the Bulls. The Pacers have been awful. they're 4-18, but the Bulls are on an absolute joke of a run. Like they're just falling off a cliff. They cannot defend. They're all Vucevic is coming out complaining about the team, saying that they're basically a joke. And I agree with him. Friday at 1 a.m. Pacers hopefully to get their fifth win of the season. Then I've gone with Bengals to beat the Bills Sunday at 6 p.m. Joe Burrow just looked back, like he looked like he was up for it, and he went on an unbelievable run last season. So let's see if he can do that again. It's going to need to start by beating the Bills. They're 11-5 on Sunday, 6 p.m. And then lastly, I know I predicted a 1-1 draw, but I think Villa are probably the more likely of the two to win since they're at home. So since they're 16-5, I'm taking them to beat Arsenal. Obviously that's 12:30 on Saturday, as we already mentioned.
Yeah, so I have two of the same you again. So I also have the Pacers to beat the Bulls because it was the only one that was literally that I could see there was an actual just 5 games back.
Mm.
Like the other one that I was looking at were like 6-16 versus 15-7. I was like, I'm absolutely not going there, not this early in the season. I wanted one that was close enough, so I went Pacers and Bulls as well. I obviously also have Villa to beat Arsenal. Villa 16-5, Arsenal 17-20. We just talked about why I think Villa are going to do it. I don't need to touch too much on it. And I'm sticking on the Jets hype train, and they're going to beat the Dolphins. The Jets are 6-5, the Dolphins are 4-6. Up the Jets, better than the Chiefs. Let's go.
Yeah, you got to go back to the Jets because when you went away from them, they won. So you got to stick with them now.
Yeah,
And I
need to bring him back down to earth.
Yeah, and another thing about the Bulls is they just lost to the Nets like 2 nights ago, so that's the level they're on at the moment.
Yeah,
And
and the Nets are awful.
that Villa price also is really, really good. 16-5. That's yeah, I think that's way too much of an outside for a team at home in that kind of form. But anyway, let's move on
Yeah.
to the NBA side of things. First thing we've got really is, are the Magic better without Paolo Banchero? Or is it a fact that he will just contribute to this team when he does come back, and continued on the run that they're on? So they're 7-3 without him. They lost to the Celtics, they lost in overtime to the Rockets, and they lost with a last second block last night. They had a layup and Luke Cornack came back and got the block against the Spurs. So those are the three losses. And then with Paulo on the season, they were 6-6. So there's a big difference in their record with and without him. And I don't know, is this run down to everything maybe clicking a bit more, a few shots available for other people, allowed Desmond Bain maybe to settle back into his rhythm? But do you think it's more than that? Do you think that they're winning without him because he's gone, or they're winning in spite of him being out? Like they've just improved and he'll just add to it.
I think you'll just add to it. So in the last 10 games, everything has clicked. But I think it's been more the fact that they're just playing more games, getting to know each other a bit better. I 100% agree that Desmond Bain looks 10 times the player he did at the start of the year. He's really come on in leaps and bounds while Banchero has been out. But
Mm,
Tristan De Silva has been
yeah.
sitting in there instead of Banchero over this run. He averages 10-3-1. When Banchero, before he went out, was 21-9-4.
Mhm.
So he's double, if not triple in some. And he had a steal and a block as well. I think he comes back in and just makes him better. I think they know how to play now. So they come back in and say, okay, everything doesn't have to go through you. Look at what the lads have done in the last 10 games without you. You don't need to be firing all cylinders every single night for us to get these wins. He can facilitate more. He can bring his rebounds up from 9 to 15 and still get his 21 points as well. I think it only bodes well for him if they're on the 7-3 run. If when he comes back, if he plays the next 10 and they go 5-5, then I'd be like, okay, maybe there is a problem. But if they could very easily come back and go 8-2 with him and the team as well, with him facilitating the rest of them keeping their level up. The Silva kind of rotating in and out. Now he's shown he can do something.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, yeah, I think they're only going to get better when he comes back.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. He's for me like, if he's not a top 20 player in the league, he's a top 15. Like he's an unbelievable talent.
Mm.
Yeah, he does play a certain way that, you know, there's strengths to his game and there's weaknesses. Like he's not one of those guys that can do absolutely every single thing. But I think it's like you said, just this team is finding its way now, because they played more games with each other, and like yeah, there is some things you can't shy away from too, though. Like they've been scoring more than 6 points a game now than they were before. Their rebound numbers have gone down, but their steal numbers have gone up by nearly 1.5 steals a game. The thing that stands out to me is the number of threes they're taking. They're taking about 2.5 more a game, which isn't a big number, but those stack up across games, and they're taking care of the ball a lot better. Like 4 less turnovers a game, and they're putting up an extra like 7 shots per game, so 91.8 field goals attempted per game now, and with him it was 84.6. Some of those things are down to his style of play because he is a bit slower, and they did defer to him a lot. So I think what the perfect marriage of this whole situation is that they point to these things and say, look, we're actually performing way better when we play faster and we move the ball around more. It actually is leading to less turnovers because we're moving the ball around. No one knows this. Everyone, the other teams don't know who's going to take the shot. It's not always just going to be
Yeah.
you. Um, and then they can use that to their advantage. I think that if he is willing to buy into that fact and believe, I think it's a belief as well because often he had to be the guy because they had injuries or players not performing. Now he can look at Bain like 2 games there where he had 37 points in 2 wins versus big divisional opponents in
Mm.
the Bulls and Pistons. Like those are games that you need to win, and they did win them because of Bain's performance. So I think if he's willing to take a little bit of do a little bit of give with the take, like, and show that this is probably better for the team if we do up the pace, take more shots, then I think this team only leaps even further as long as he buys into it.
Yeah, I think he has no other option than to buy into it because of what they've done while he's been out. Everything you said is absolutely spot on. I'm not going to go like double back or say anything that you just said. I just think that when he does come back, if they can get him and Bain playing as a 1-2 kind of just helping each other and everything, getting the ball around the court faster, as you said, I think, as you said, they can only go up because he is some player.
Yeah,
Any team in the league would have him in a heartbeat. So getting him back in there with everyone else playing really well as well. So don't even need to rush him back in now. They can bring him back on the bench and kind of just drip feed him in 20 minutes here, 25 minutes and get him back up to starting level. Like
yeah,
there's no like when he went out, I was like, oh, they might be in trouble here, with the way they started the year. But now they've been so good in the last 10 games, as you said, overtime loss, last second block, and I can't remember the Bulls, and the Bulls one was very close as
Celtics
well.
one, yeah,
So Celtics there, yes, yeah. So it's like this. He's coming back into a completely different team that he left 10 games ago.
yeah,
That I just don't think he's a choice. He has to now buy in and say, okay, it's not all about me. He doesn't need to be putting up 30 points for people to know how good he
yeah,
is. Everyone knows how good he is. So like he doesn't need to go out here and go, oh, I'm the man, look at me. There's no need for him to do that. Everyone knows he's the man.
yeah.
And when it comes down to it, and they do need a last second tree, they'll probably give it to him still or over any of the rest of them. So we'll still see the best of him. He just needs to help get the best out of the team as well at the same time.
Yeah, I think, and the best of him will come if he falls into that role as well, and the best of Franz
Hmm.
Wagner as well because he'll be given more space inside if they're continuing to put up these extra couple of threes and up the pace. So yeah, I had them to win the East at the start of the season, and although there's still question marks, I still gonna stick with that because I think they have that ability, and then with him back, they're only gonna leap as long as he buys into it, like I mentioned. But let's touch on a couple of situations that are off the court at the moment. First up being Giannis. Um, Once again, of course, he's playing unreal. 30.8 minutes per game with 30.6 points per game before last night's game, where of course he went down. They said it was a calf strain. He's going to miss like 2 to 4 weeks. He only played like 3 minutes, but before that, the numbers were insane, and it was the best pace he had for points per minute in his entire career. But yet the team is still 9-13 outside the playoff spots. They're 10-13 now after winning last night, but before that they were 9-13, and he had missed 6 games. They went 1-5, losing key games to conference opponents. They lost to Philly, Detroit, Miami, all with him out. And then even when he does play, the team looks far off it. So what he has done in return is remove everything for the team off his social media accounts, change his profile picture to him in a Greece jersey. He just has his bio as NBA player now. It's not, Giannis plays for the Bucs. He doesn't want that on his account anymore, and his agent has now spoken to the Bucs about what's going to happen in the next few weeks, and they hope to come to an agreement, whether that be him leaving or a clearer path for in the future for him staying. Ultimately, he's going to leave. So that's where we're looking at now. I didn't think he would do this because, as I mentioned at the start of the season, like American players often do this, but we've yet to see a European like superstar do this in the NBA. But
Mm.
looks like he's gonna be the first one.
I think he has obviously outgrown the Bucks' level now. He's far too good to be playing for a team that isn't challenging for a championship.
Hmm.
I just think he is so important for them. Like as you said, they went 1-5 without him. They're going to go another 2 to 4 weeks now. Conveniently, he's after getting an injury when he wants to get a trade, which seems a bit kind
Yeah,
of something to
non-contact.
throw up in the air. Yeah, a non-contact injury out of nowhere. But I think he's just so important for him that the only way he gets out is if some team offers something absolutely outrageous, and
Yeah,
there aren't many teams left who have the ability to. I was looking at something. The OKC could absolutely do it, which is will be a major problem if they got him in as well. They've so many picks. They've so many players that are just kind of playing role players that would be massive difference makers for a team like the Bucks. They have Caruso could go in there and make a massive difference for the Bucks, for example.
mm.
Um, him, a couple of others, and a couple of firsts gets Giannis. Like, is there any hope for like what do the Lakers have to offer? What can the Rockets offer? Like, these are the teams that he's probably looking at. So there isn't enough there. The Rockets definitely don't have enough of what to give up to get in KD, and they're not going to give up Amen or Jabari Smith, or they're
Yeah.
definitely not giving up someone like Shingun. So there isn't a whole lot of teams that can get him, and his price is going to be mental as well. But he definitely will end up somewhere, more than likely be the Lakers, I think.
Yeah, I think for me with the Lakers though, I don't know what they have that they can give up. Like they're in a quite a difficult situation that what did they do there? Like that like the LeBron is not going anywhere. Like he's gonna veto anything. He's still not gonna want to go to the Bucks. He's too old. The Bucks don't want him. They're
Yeah,
not giving up Reeves because they like that with Luka,
no, and they're not
even
giving up
though
Doncic, obviously.
the two of them can't defend together at all. That would
Yeah,
be the knowledgeable and smart thing to do is give up Reeves, I think, in my opinion. And I know he's playing great this season, but like, come on, it's Giannis. Like having Giannis
Giannis is
and
Giannis.
Luka
Yeah,
together. Yeah, a lot of teams don't have enough. I think one of the only teams that do is OKC, and OKC aren't going to do it because they have exactly what they need, and they've won it or like the championship already. They're on a historic pace again this year. They just want to prove everyone wrong with what they have.
outrageous what they're doing.
They want to
Yeah,
build with what they have, and they don't want to be like, oh, we went and got a superstar. They want to build their own like kind of superstar team. Like the Bucks are just a joke right now. Like 19th in points allowed per game and 18 in points for per game. So ever since that whole Dame Lillard debacle, getting him in didn't work out. Gets badly injured, had to let him go. Still going to be paying him off for the next like 4 years. They've just set themselves up for failure. And Miles Turner has come in. What's he doing? Like he's not providing the team scoring, maybe 12 points a game. It's not made any difference. And Ryan Rollins probably looks like the only shining light outside of Giannis, and that's certainly not enough to keep Giannis there. So yeah, I don't know. I think I find it hard to see certain teams giving up what they need to give up to get him. But like you said,
yeah.
the Lakers is probably the most likely because it's like a fashionable destination and it's going to ultimately be
Or
where
the
he
Heat,
wants to
maybe.
go. Yeah, the Heat is a good choice too, but
Cool.
again, they don't have a whole lot. But it's like Miami,
Yeah,
that's where you want to be. So I think it's kind of if he doesn't want to go there, then don't even bother putting in a trade offer for him because unless he wants to go to your team, then you're wasting your time.
yeah. I'm just looking here. So they're 10 and 13. They're one place below your 76ers, who are 11 and 9.
Yeah,
So they're so far back.
yeah.
So they played what? They played 23, you played 20. They 3 games played more than ye, and they're 7.5 games back, you're 5 games back from the Pistons. They're just so far removed from the team that I think it's from the team that Giannis thought he was staying on in summer. I think he wouldn't have stayed there if he didn't think there was a chance of getting into the
Mm.
playoffs or having a winning record. And they're just so far removed from kind of what you expect of the Bucks, with Giannis on the team. And they've signed his two brothers. The two of them are
I don't even
they're
play.
they're they're, they're, they're Irish league players. Like, they're horrific. The two of them. They're only there to keep him happy. Like, but wherever he goes, if he goes to the Lakers, the two of them are coming with him. If he goes to the Heat, the two of them are coming with him. It's like, it's literally, it's the biggest case of job for the boys I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Is Giannis bringing his family on an American tour with him? I think he has to go. I think he will go. I think someone is going to end up obviously with a great player, but they're going to end up giving up so much to get him that it's not going to seem worth it to any team in the league.
Mm.
I think that's the problem. If he'd went in the summer, he'd have had so many more options. Like the Rockets could have taken him
Yeah,
over KD. I think KD has been brilliant. I've no issue with it, but they had enough to get him in the summer. If Giannis said, "Okay, I want to go to the Rockets now,"
yeah,
and they got it done before they did the KD deal, they don't have it now. And the Lakers probably do have a small bit enough. I think he'd have more of a hope of going to OKC when they're riding the back of we won the championship. Now we got Giannis. Like that would have been some kind of 1-2 punch of a headline. They're not going to do it now with the run they're on.
yeah.
21-1 is absolutely outrageous. Like it's not something you see. This the level of consistency from them is it's just crazy. How can you only lose one game in 22?
Mm.
Like that's it's like they're on record to finish with 4 losses over the course of the year. There's no other team in the whole of NBA who have less than 5 losses at the moment.
Yeah,
So Joe, they're just outrageous. They're absolutely outrageous. Like if they could bring him in and could just screw everything,
yeah. As
could be
well.
the bad apple in the apple cart that absolutely destroys them. They're not going to change anything now.
Yeah, I was watching them the other night against the Warriors, and they're like kept in like close to them the whole game, and then right at the end they were just like, "Nah, see you later now. That's it," and they just like pulled away.
It's the same. I watched them against the Blazers as well. I watched them against the Trailblazers. The exact same.
Yeah,
I put it on because the Blazers looked like they were actually doing something. OKC were
it
like,
always ends the same
okay,
way.
we're going to stop playing with our food now. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're going to stop playing with the food now and just put you away because you're actually making us a bit uncomfortable here with how close you are.
yeah,
Just go and just finish him off. And Shea annoys me with how much he gets to the line.
mm.
He draws so many fouls, he creates fouls,
Some
but
of them aren't
Joe
fouls
like
as
he's getting
well.
them. No, there was one the other night where he dragged
Yeah,
the fella's arm
yeah,
into him and then just threw the ball up. It's like, ah,
yeah.
come on.
That's it.
That brings me on nicely to why can't Giannis throw free throws? I know we didn't put this in the agenda, but why are his free throws so bad? Like,
I don't know. It's like
I
Shaq.
know it's not
Well,
just
it's
him,
not
but
Shaq's level, but
there's so
yeah,
there's so many good players who cannot throw free throws, but he's definitely the worst for a man of his talent. And he takes 4 years to get him up, and then
yeah,
hits the front of the rim or the backboard. He just can't throw free throws. It's kind of funny. But when I was watching him, when the Rockets played him, he was just taking so long. I was like, Jesus, bud, just get him up. Like we know you're going to miss him.
yeah.
Why are you taking 30 seconds over every single one? But
And the crowd used to
yeah, I
chant
think
as
it's going to
well,
be
yeah,
very
count
interesting.
him down as well for it. Like
Yeah,
that's yeah, that is gas. But
I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see where he ends up.
yeah, I agree. It's one to keep watching. And another situation surrounding a player off the court is Chris Paul. So obviously he's a Clippers legend. He went back to the Clippers this year for his very last year in the league. I think he's 40 or 41 years of age. And just horrendous treatment he's after getting from the Clippers. Basically, he was cut from them overnight on Tuesday. So the team announced he's no longer with the team. And Chris Paul said himself on his Instagram that basically they told him he needs to go home because they were on the way to Atlanta or whatever for their game, and they were like, "Yeah, you need to go. Um, you're going back home. You're not playing with us anymore." ESPN said to move on for him. The Clippers would have to waive him and pay out his 3.6 million salary, agree to a buyout, or look to trade him, and they can't do that till December 15th. So they've just basically tried to blame everything on him because Shams tweeted
Mm.
today saying that Chris Paul and his leadership style clashed with the Clippers, and that he was voicing his concern with the team's management, coaches, and the players' accountability. And the team said that that was disruptive, and Ty Lue didn't speak to him for the last few weeks, which is crazy stuff. Like a legend of the
Shocking.
franchise comes in, sees that the franchise is an absolute joke. They're not taking anything seriously. They're losing every single game, and then the coach doesn't talk to him, sends him home, goes, "Yeah, off you go back there. We're not speaking to you, and we'll trade you in a few days because we're holding on to you until then." I think maybe trusting an ancient roster, bringing in Bradley Beal and doing ridiculous things like that might be more of a reason why you're useless, not Chris Paul sitting on the bench and telling you all that you need to cop on and take accountability.
Yeah, there's something I saw the other day, which actually drove me not drove me mad. It baffled me. The Clippers have no retired jerseys.
Yeah.
Like they've seen no one at a level of a player to retire a jersey, which means that Chris Paul is probably one of their best ever players.
Yeah, probably him and
If
Blake
you're going
Griffin.
off that. Yeah, are their best players, and the way they've treated the two of them towards the end of it has been absolutely criminal. I just like as you said, bringing in the ancient roster in the first place was the issue. It's not just him being 40; it's Kawhi Leonard and his trees now are another issue. James Harden, there, another man who's on a retirement run. Like they're just a retirement home, and it's not working at all for any of them. And he was like, I read that as well from Shams that he was the one telling them this is not good enough. This is a team that should be doing the playoffs last year. They're not getting there this year. Obviously, they're nowhere near the level 6 and 16,
Yeah,
and they're like, okay, you're the problem. Get out.
yeah,
Watch them go and lose their next 5 games again because he's not the problem. The problem is absolutely everything.
yeah.
The problem is the fact that they come into this season and just decided, yeah, there's nothing we can do. Off like after 2 games, they're like, this is done.
And what annoyed me as well is that they managed to win that game against Atlanta. So it's
I
like, oh
know.
yeah, look, we did. We're so right. Like, no, this is only going to make you even worse, and it makes you more of a joke. Like what you said, the whole Kawhi situation. Now he's injured again. He just loves taking that money that's getting fed to him, and who wouldn't? But at least put something out on the court. I don't know, allegedly injured, I would say. But I think the Chris Paul treatment is horrendous, and yeah, James Harden is their only hope right now, and he's doing his best,
Yeah.
but like the rest of the team is too old, and yeah, I don't know. They clearly are not in a good situation on and off the court. But we'll see where he ends up going because any team would be lucky to have his leadership. Look what he did with the Spurs. Look what he did with the Rockets. Look what he did with OKC. All of these
Yeah.
teams, he was the one that helped them transition and mature, helped the players that were there mature and move into their next phase. And without him there after he moved on. So he's clearly a very, very experienced veteran with a valuable voice. So
Yeah, like I think for the sake of 2 or 3 million, I'd absolutely have the Rockets take him until the end of the season.
yeah.
He played 82 games for the Spurs last year, so clearly fitness isn't an issue
Hmm.
for him. He's just not being picked by the Clippers. Even if you had him on the bench, as you said, if he was the one that was telling the players, like this isn't good enough, you're going out and losing to the Jazz after whacking him off the court the night before. Like Chris Paul wouldn't stand for that. So
Yeah.
having someone like him in there, along with Kevin Durant, to be like, if you think you're going to win a championship, you don't go and lose on a back to back to the Jazz. You have to beat them off the court 2 nights in a row. I'd have no problem if the Rockets went out and said we've signed Chris Paul to a deal to the end of the year for 3 million. Be like,
Yeah.
that's great business.
Yeah. 3.6 million is
So
nothing,
and
nothing in this league right now. So
yeah,
yeah.
and especially like, and if he's getting that to be bought out at Clippers, and he'd probably take less from the Rockets just to have somewhere to finish the season. So he
Yeah.
might take 2 million
Yeah.
on top of it. So I think whoever does bring him in, and someone will bring him in.
Yeah.
Whoever does bring him in has made a really smart
I
move.
think they're so stingy they don't want to buy him out. They just want to trade. And who's
Yeah,
going to give up anything for a player that old? Like they're just, yeah, I don't
for
know.
for the sake of 6 or 7 months,
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
no, and that's kind of what the Sixers have with Kyle Lowry. Like he doesn't play, but he's from Philly and he's kind of there. He's won a championship and he's give that experience and knowledge to the other players. So they're not going to be sending him out on the road. Like where you're from, where you know, all these things matter and they mean a lot. And they had no respect for it, so I don't like that. But
Mm.
let's move into the power rankings then to wrap things up. So week 13 of the power rankings, and since the NBA came back, we've been doing it before then, but we've obviously well incorporated NBA teams at this stage. We've got two Premier League, two NFL, two NBA. Do you want to throw out yours first and give us last week's first before you do?
Yeah, will do. So last week I had Arsenal, OKC, Pistons, Patriots, Broncos, Villa. I've only made one change this week, so a couple of position changes, but only one new team.
Mm.
Arsenal OKC stays my top two. Um, Best team in the Premier League, best team in basketball. It's very hard to knock either of them off. I actually probably should put OKC top at this stage now, so I'm actually going to do that now.
Okay.
OKC one, Arsenal two. Off the cuff. Villa up to three for me. They were six last week, but the run they're on is just hard to ignore. The Patriots and Broncos both stay for me, so 10 game winning run for the Patriots, 9 game winning run for the Broncos. And the Rockets are back in for me over the Pistons. 8-2 in their last 10, and they just look really good outside of that Jazz game where it was just like it was like they were just on an episode of Punked or something, how bad they were. But it was their first back to back of the season. Might just take a bit of getting used to. Steven Adams was out as well, and he's been superb for him. So OKC, Arsenal, Villa, Patriots, Broncos, and Rockets.
Nice, nice. Yeah. I've got a good few similarities to you. So last week I had OKC, Arsenal, Rams, Pistons, Patriots, Chelsea. I've only also made one change, but the order is different. So I've still got OKC and Arsenal 1 and 2. Um, Third place for me then is still going to be the Rams. I know they lost last week, but like you're going to have those games, and they're still clearly the best team in football for me anyway. Then in fourth place, I also have Villa, so that's a new entry for me. I brought them in instead of Chelsea because just the run is unbelievable and jumped them straight up to fourth. Next up, then I have the Patriots. They're in fifth, and then I've got the Pistons in sixth. Just I think the Pistons are still on a great run. They're 17-5, top of the East, and I think they're
Yeah,
deserving of
just
that position.
yeah, I've no issue with them. I just wanted to get one of the teams I like into the top six
Yeah.
because it's just been a really, really tough year.
Yeah, yeah, true. Can't argue with that. But that's been episode 50. Appreciate all the listening throughout the
Mad.
year, and we're gonna keep going till next stop is gonna be 75. So a big milestone. Appreciate everybody listening throughout the year since we got started in January, and I'll throw it to you to wrap it up, Shane.
Yeah, so we got our Spotify wrap up last night,
Mm.
and I think the numbers were quite surprising for both of us, to be perfectly honest. Amount of people's top tens, top fives, number one shows really kind of it blew me away a bit, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to be
Yeah,
the level it was. And people don't turn us off when they turn us on as well because
yeah,
they listen to over 80 people listen to us through as well, which was a bit shocking as well. I thought people would put us on for 10 minutes and
yeah.
say, okay, that's the Premier League over. I'll leave it there. I don't want to listen about the other two. But the support has been really, really good. It's great to see. Um, yeah, there's very little left to say. Just keep liking and subscribing if you can. It does mean a whole lot. And we're, as you said, episode 50, 75 soon, 100. We're still on the road to 100,000 subscribers. So get going on that as well for us. And thank you so much for listening every week. It does mean the world to us.
Nice one, lads. See you again next week.
Welcome back to another episode of Who's Got the Ball with Shane and James.